Hello teacups, what's brewing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for your patience. I was sick for a few days there. Started feeling it on Thursday, got through work, was sick all weekend, took a sick day yesterday, and then woke up today feeling like I'd gotten over the hump of it. So we are back and lovely to see but not see you. Slight change of look. Longer term viewers of the channel will have seen this wig before. I wore it to school today because we had an event on. This was part of my outfit, so I wasn't about to take it off for the sake of this. You guys know I wear a wig, so no big deal. But if this was a little bit of a surprise to you, hi. So Chantal has actually been online a lot this weekend, which was nice for the sake of having something on in the background, but I was in and out and didn't listen a lot. This one looks like the most likely for reacts. So we've got slip-ups on weight loss journey. There have also been some community tag talks, which looking now seem to have been deleted. What a shock. Whenever she rages, she doesn't like to keep things up because God forbid there be consequences for her. But to summarize, everyone judges me on how I look. You shouldn't judge people on how they look, but look how these people look. How dare they? Just in case you want to save some time in your life. So I've cut out the ad and the intro to this video. We are starting with her blood sugar reading, which is 10.4, which is obviously higher than it was. The blood reader, what's it called? Glucose monitor, I suppose, is still broken and she hasn't replaced it. She said last time it was really cheap, so I'm surprised she hasn't just bothered replacing it, but I suppose I shouldn't be surprised when she's not bothered doing things. It is kind of her MO. It's probably just the screen being broken, but personally, if I were using it to monitor a potentially life-threatening thing, I would probably want to make sure that there weren't a chance of anything else being broken with it and just get a new one, considering it was so cheap in the first place. But that's just me, so let's get into this.
So it's 10.4. Despite
last time she said it was like 8 or something like that, which was still high in terms of blood sugar readings, particularly fasted, but it wasn't 24 or whatever ridiculous amount she was at before.
Eating very poorly yesterday, I attribute that probably to my medication and the increase in exercise, but who knows? It fluctuates. So 10.4 is my fasting reading today. It is 3 p.m. I did not eat yet. And
the doctor told her never miss breakfast. She has been we've been seeing her up a lot later, eating a lot more on camera. She does seem to have had just a few bad days with it, which is about the time. It's about the time for it. She does tend to go off quite quickly, but we don't seem to be following the doctor's plan at all at this point. Not with what she's eating, not with when she's eating, not even the things that she might find easier to implement, like the timed meals and things like that to try and help stop the turbulence in her blood sugar. But is turbulence the right word there? If it's not, I feel like it should be. Foodie doesn't have spikes, she has turbulence. But anyway, getting off point, just seeing her try something the doctor had said would be nice, but it's not where we are right now, and she seems to have had some non-compliant days, shall we say.
That's because I ate too much last night. So this is the reading. Well, hello guys. So I have a kind of sit down and talk update video for you.
One thing, the reason I'm stopping here, she's had in the last couple of videos, and which is why I think she filmed this the same day she filmed the Arabic breakfast video, she's had some very marked, like carved in bags under her eyes. Now it's normal of a certain age. I've been at work all all day. You can see the bags under my eyes, but usually she doesn't have those, and we can see them even through the filter. And she was really struggling in the kitchen through the filter as well. She was obviously straining herself. That looks like it might be the sodium. We laugh because often it's like, oh no, it's water weight. Oh no, I ate something really salty. I do think she's very, very bloated at the moment. I think that's what we're seeing right there. The literal bags on her bags where her eyes have been swollen. But that does rather beg the question, what on earth have you been consuming?
Tomorrow is weigh-in day, and
she knows what she did.
I expect it not to be as good. I don't expect to have a loss.
She uploaded this the other day. Has she uploaded the weigh-in yet? I might have missed that if she did.
Maybe a slight gain, I don't know.
Maybe that's today's.
Maybe not from actual fat, but I think if anything else from retaining water because I eat so much sodium.
Like I said, she's been non-compliant recently. We've seen her eat some very big portions. It could easily be both. She has been, it seems, attempting to increase her movement, which is a really positive thing, but there comes a point where like you can't outrun a bad diet. And even with something that feels like a really big step to her, which is the literal step she's getting, in the grand scheme of what she takes in, isn't going to make a dent.
I've eaten so much sodium, particularly yesterday. Yesterday, the day before,
R.I.P. all those
for
snacks.
about 3 days now, I've been slipping. You know, I'm in that stage right now where, you know, I start off going strong and then I start slipping. Things get up.
When we say slipping, like, she ate half of a casserole dish sized pot pie. And I know she was like healthy pot pie, but no, because you still had all the things in it. Yes, you had whole wheat flour, but whole wheat flour does not a healthy thing make. It was marginally less bad than it could have been, but it doesn't mean it was good. And this is a distinction Chantal's had in many areas of her life. She gets stuck on the idea of, well, I've done worse, so this is good, when in actual fact, bigger changes tend to be needed. It's not as bad, is not the same as it being good.
A little tough, you kind of just get sick of it. And it's so easy to fall back into old habits and to just give into urges to overeat and
to have a go at people online because they've noticed that you're doing the exact opposite of what the doctors and you said you were going to do and those kind of things. It's really easy to slip back in and then, accidentally delete everything because you don't want to be held to it. Yeah.
B word, we're going to call it the B word, which is like code for binge eating.
Oh, I feel like my word would fit just as easily, but we'll see.
So yeah, I did have some B word occurrences.
I'm gonna stick with bitch, it works better here. Either or.
So yesterday was particularly bad. Last night, I stayed up pretty late and
it's never a good sign for
I had a lot of snacks. And, you know, my husband was like, when we were doing groceries, he's like, you know, I was like, I want the snacks. And he's like, if I get the snacks, you're sure that you're not going to have a problem with the B word with them. And I thought, I can control myself, you know.
Okay, it's hard to control yourself, but here, remember, a lot of the time when she presents certain things, it's, these are for Salah. Salah needs them. He lives here. He deserves to have what he wants. He doesn't have these problems. And yet Salah's there saying, well, you know, we don't have to have these in. And obviously she can make her own choices, and she frequently does and insists upon doing so. But, you know, we don't have to have these. You might have a problem with them. He's actively telling her, hey, this doesn't have to happen. And she's actively making the choice and then saying, no, they were for him.
I can't really, so I don't know what I'm going to do with them. Maybe I don't want to chuck them, maybe give them away to one of Salah's friends or something.
That won't happen. She'll eat them. And I'm saying that as someone who has been in this thought process and has justified keeping something that I know I want to eat because I don't want to waste it when putting it in my body is equally wasteful to my life.
Something like that. He has other healthier snacks he doesn't mind eating to help me out. And yeah, so I'm back on track today. However, I'm going to acknowledge what happened. I'm not going to, you know, let it drag on for too long or make a huge deal, feel super guilty, because then I will just keep spiraling out of control and the control will be harder and harder to rein back in. So
I always find it interesting about this conversation that she has is the fact that she always keeps like the kernel of truth in there, but then abuses it to make it fit whatever she wants, which is pretty much how she works. Oh, this was unfortunate for Spain. I apologize if I've allowed Foodie to make you feel a little uncomfortable here. Sorry. Yes, there is something to be said for not spiraling into guilt over food, for taking away that morality from food, but her way of doing this means that she also denies herself the reflection. She denies herself this point where it's like, okay, why did I do that? What can I do to change that? Maybe I could not bring these things into the house. Is it this one where we see the grocery haul as well, or did we already see that? But she had a really large grocery haul recently, and she's come out and bought more cheese. Even though, remember those 3 blocks of, was it Stromboli or whatever it was called, cheese? The name of it kind of stuck out because she bought another replacement block of cheese. So it was like, I'm sorry, you've ate how many pounds of cheese this week? I don't care who you are, I don't care what diet you're doing, I don't care what's going on. That is too much cheese for one person. Because it's not like Salah's going to have eaten it all. And just like the Arabic breakfast she did, which I think, like I said, was probably filmed the same day based on her makeup and how her eyes are doing, I don't believe the meals she's presented were for any more than one person. I don't believe he was there. And when you look at kind of the breakfast that she already started, and then, she was going to call Salah, just like she was going to save this for Bibi. But yet she had 2 full things of like ketchup already on it, and the way it was laid out, I think all the food's for her. Now, it's between her and whoever she believes in, what she eats off camera, or what she pretends to be eating on camera. Ultimately, it's her that's going to have to deal with the consequence of that, but it doesn't look, with the way she's presented it, that it actually has been for him, and we've seen no sign of him. It didn't seem like he was there when she was showing these meals.
So right now I'm making a dinner for myself and Salah.
Or maybe it was this one.
I'm making a chicken. I'll show you what I have today to eat. So I'm making a roasted chicken in the oven. And
just let it keep going, sorry.
A bit of olive oil, that kind of thing. Making some rice for him. But I'm making a sweet potato for myself. And I don't know what else I'll add on there. Maybe a salad or who knows. But sweet potato, maybe some cheese with that. And that will be my dinner. And I don't know what else. Maybe I'll have a tuna sandwich later if I'm really hungry. Maybe some dates. I don't know. We'll see. So I'm just trying to get back on track. I'm paying particular attention to how poorly I feel from the B word yesterday.
She's going to feel terrible. Like, I get physically, if not mentally, she's going to feel terrible. But the thing with that is, with how serious her health concerns are, this isn't just like, I feel kind of sick to my stomach for eating all that crap. This is, hey, this bad feeling might mean I'm about to need to go to the emergency room, which she's so blasé about. Like, this is post-binge shame. You can see it in the expression as much as she would deny it. And I don't blame her for that, because it's a difficult place to be. But how many of these, well, I'm just going to really pay attention, does she really realistically have left before her body goes, well, I tried to warn you?
I had nightmares. I had really bad dreams. I can't really remember what they are. I just remember it was like super weird. Every time I dream, I'm always dreaming that I'm like I'm staying at my mom's house, and I can't ever find my car, and I have to call her, and bug her to come pick me up. And when I called her this time, my stepdad answered, and I could hear in the background freaking out. They found, they had this huge oven that they don't even have, and they found, the body of this woman in there, and she was surrounded by all these teeth.
I feel like that's enough of a look into Chantal's psyche. Let's move on. I do think it's interesting, though, where she goes, I had to call my mom and bug her. Many have speculated, given that she went to Canada and no one met her at the airport, that the family didn't want very much to do with her at the moment. And obviously she did stay, we believe, at her mom's house. But there seemed to be some ground rules in place there. And when she got back to Canada, no one would come to the airport for her. Now, they could have been working. There are many reasons why that happens. But interesting that in the midst of this nightmare, it starts with there was no one to pick me up. I couldn't find my car. I had to bother someone to do it because she doesn't have people happy to do that for her.
It was so weird, like really long teeth. Anyway, I had really weird bad dreams. But yeah, in my dreams, I'm never an adult and I'm ever hardly living on my own.
In your reality, you're never an adult and you're very hardly ever living on your own.
And there's a few times where I live in this apartment, and there's an apartment, it comes with this like little apartment next door because there was a woman who passed away in there. And
I'm not interested in this dream, but also, does Salah have a little apartment next door? It's like, no, completely pulled out of nowhere.
It's like locked up, like you shouldn't go in there. You know, the landlord's like insistent I shouldn't go in there. And when I do, because
of course,
it's a dream, even though I'm like, in my dream, I'm telling myself, I don't want to go in there. It's cool. I'm not curious. I end up going in and it's like super haunted and it's creepy as heck. And it's like a malevolent ghost. So I'm like afraid for my safety and I just have all these nightmares, especially I find if I'm eating late at night.
This is 5 minutes of my life I'm never getting back.
I remember one author, I don't know who I was reading. Was it?
You were not maybe audiobook. I'll give her audiobook.
Joe Lansdale? One of the horror authors I was reading in university,
in university.
attributes before the stories start to him eating a lot of late night popcorn with butter or something like that, buttered popcorn. And that's where he would get his ideas from. Like, I'm telling you, eating junk late at night can give you nightmares. I'm not joking.
So either she's had nightmares her entire life, or secretly Chantal is just a horror author trying to get inspiration. Okay, just one more excuse to add to the pile.
So I had nightmares. I was so thirsty. I felt really gross and dizzy, and like if I wasn't on taking my medication religiously, for lack of a better term, I don't know, my blood sugars would probably be an emergency at this point.
Your fasting blood sugar is 10.8. It's not 24 anymore, but if you're having a 10.8 on medication, yeah, your everything is an emergency, right? I can see how hard your body is working even through this filter.
Because like I wasn't feeling good already, and so the medications I know definitely helping, especially when I eat things not good for me. So
I don't think that's what the medication is designed to do though. The medication is not designed as a safety net there so you can push as much junk as you want into it and just see how far it will stretch. Like, you're meant to be making a lifestyle change with this.
What else? I had TMI, but the worst going to the washroom.
I don't know, we've had many levels of that with her.
Nausea, I thought I was gonna be sick many times. And just poor sleeping. Headache, a really bad headache from the sodium, I'm sure. So it's not worth it. Like, I'm paying attention to how I'm feeling after, and it's just not worth it. It's not worth feeling like absolute crap.
I want to know how bad and how long this binge went on for, because she's eaten a lot of things in her time. She doesn't often come on looking this affected by it. Like, we've heard this story before, but the actual physical effects of it, we don't often see that much.
And I just...
Especially through the filters.
It's not worth it for me, no. And, sometimes it doesn't change the urges, but I'm going to remember how I felt. I'm going to really try hard and...
Bets, Beulah. She may have already done this again. I'm being unsympathetic just because we've been through it so much. Binge eating disorder is a really hard thing to deal with. Of course it is. And there was a part of me at the beginning of reacting that was a lot more sympathetic to this. But even her language now, oh, I'm going to do this. No, it's not worth it. Oh, I'm going to try. She'll modify as she goes. And then it'll become, well, I'm going to think about thinking about it. And we'll just continue where we were.
Undoing all the progress that was so hard to do in the first place. It's I know it doesn't look like much to you guys who are like normal.
No, there's no such thing as normal. There's a lot of people, I think, in the community, myself included, that understand the struggle that comes with food, but I would like to see this progress. I'm not asking for perfection, because God forbid, but I'd like to see the progress, because right now you are not following any of the things the doctor told you to do. You're coming off what sounds like a 2 to 3 day binge. We've seen you replace a good amount of those groceries already, and those groceries were not good for you. A lot of them were foods that were not recommended to help you, and you say you're feeling this way. So you've got a lot of post-binge remorse going on, and God, am I familiar with that? Like that moment of realization, like an alcoholic with a hangover of I've really got to get my life in order. This is a food hangover for her. But I'm not seeing the progress. She's just circling as she always does.
For lack of a better term again, but keeping yourself in check when you have an addiction of any kind is a minute by minute fight, especially at first. And I feel like I have to start all over again.
You're not doing anything. Of course you have to start all over again. I'm not blaming you for that. It's hard, but this is where you are.
No, I'm not going to say start all over. I'm going to keep going. And, like setbacks happen. I would say I started slipping probably with the Taco Bell. That was probably the first real slip.
Again, that wasn't really a slip. That was you diving headfirst, very defiantly, into a mukbang saying, I'm eating this because I wanted it. It was, I believe, an emotional eating episode, but you were very much present and aware of what you were doing.
And then, I was like, pot pie, I'm craving pot pie. All of these things that I was like pushing away in my brain were like, ooh, so since you had Taco Bell, can I come in too? So, yeah, in theory, having a small piece of pot pie with some salad or vegetables wouldn't be that bad, but again, that's, I think, one food I just can't control myself over. I see this huge tray.
Any food delivered to you on a huge tray is going to be really hard to resist. And how many times have people told her, go get a plate and portion this out. Don't eat from the serving tray. And then the plates she has are serving trays. That one where she has the dip sections, they're designed for like nachos and dip. It's a serving platter and she eats off of them. It doesn't matter what food it is. If you give yourself enough of a portion for 4, you're probably not going to eat one person's worth of food. Like, go weigh it out. She was there, when she went to grab the pot pie and then she was like, no, I was measuring with my hand. It was half a casserole dish. There was no measurement there.
And I'm like, I know that I could technically, I'm an adult, I could do what I want. I could eat the whole thing.
Do what I want.
I could eat the whole thing. I would feel sick, but I could do it.
Yeah,
I have done it before.
But surely, okay, Chantal is very defiant, yeah, and this is part of the reason why the whole conversation about how she goes, well, mukbangs aren't a binge, I don't binge on camera, but then we get these conversations, well, clearly you couldn't stop yourself from eating the pot pie, so it was a binge because you couldn't control it. There's a lot of nuance in that interpretation, I do realise, and things are very different for different people. But Chantal, to me, for a lot of her defiance, a lot of her spite, she's been spite eating. She's like, people don't think I should eat this, so I'm going to eat it. And that just jogs her on a little bit more from the already difficult, I want to eat this thing. Now I'm going to eat it in defiance of my audience. Whereas if she just stops and thinks about what she says there, I'm an adult, I can eat it if I want to. There's no one stopping her. So she creates this scenario in her head where people, the internet audience don't want me to eat it, so I'm going to defy them. And it just becomes more tantalizing. And it's a layer that people don't always have. And her specifically as a YouTuber, as a mukbanger, and with her own personal mental struggles, just makes it more appealing and makes it harder to resist. When she's angry, she'll eat and she'll be happy, as she was with the Taco Bell. Well, I want it, and so I'm going to do it. And that just makes it that little bit harder to ignore the voice that's saying, just eat the pot pie.
No, it's just not something I can really control myself with, so I'm not going to make that for a long while, maybe ever. That made me feel really sick. I don't know why I do that. I mean, it's just really, it's just disordered way of thinking. I really can't explain it. I can't explain it effectively for people to understand. And I know a lot of people just won't understand, and that's okay, you know? So,
I think she's more worried that people will understand and then still won't take what she's saying than they won't. Because I think there's a lot of people, if she was a different kind of person, I think a lot of people would be more sympathetic to what she's saying. If we had been on a different historical route with her, there's actually a lot of people that could offer support with that. But we're just too far gone at this point.
oh, um, so yeah, I'm gonna be back on track. My blood sugar reading, you saw at the beginning, was 10 point something, which is not bad. Like I said, my sugars before consistently being back on my medication were like 23 in the 20s. It was bad. Never below 15 usually. So I just gotta stay on it and stay consistent with that and get back to walking probably tomorrow. I'm not feeling the greatest today.
No, she does look like she's struggling with this one. Did she ever mention when she was going back to that doctor? Or theoretically when she was supposed to go back? She said she had a follow-up appointment and she hasn't mentioned it. Because I thought the reason she was getting on it, aside from the whole Salah thing, and look how desirable I am and look I'm a good wife, because that all plays into this, I thought maybe she had a doctor's appointment coming up in a week or two and maybe she was trying to just get herself under control before she saw him.
You know, and I have a lot to do that I've just been kind of putting off. So I'd rather finish everything and feel better and then go out and feel less guilty about going out. But going out and walking is an obligation. I'm going to add it as a main obligation.
That just means she's less likely to do it because if you're obliged, she'll fight it.
You know, prayer, exercise, eating healthy, things like that. So I've been watching a lot of people who were fasting for religious reasons. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, fasted every Monday and Thursday. And I wish I could do it because I do believe in autophagy, which is where you, or, you know, I have a lot of fat reserves on my body. I could literally live without food for a long time. Just water, maybe a bit of Himalayan salt. I see.
Fast when. The thing is, fasting is part of her religion, and she could, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, should do. I think there's a certain number of days outside of the large religious observances where you're supposed to fast. And I think you get to choose them, but I've had friends be like, I've offered them something and they've said, oh no, I'm fasting today. But again, it goes down to she wants to lose weight, and that's not a bad aim. She obviously desperately at this point needs to give her body some kind of relief. But falling back into these older habits, because again, she's always believed fasting, she's always believed the fad diets she always used to go for, she's not in a physical condition to be able to survive them, let alone like succeed in them. Not that she's going to stay on them for very long, but her diabetes and her other issues are now at a point where she doesn't have those as an option, and those were the extreme options that were supposed to help her. So it's actually very concerning.
You know, health gurus, gym sharks, a lot of people actually do fast. It's good for the body. I believe that. But I wish I could do it, but it's too dangerous for somebody with the B word problem, you know. So I want to add, because you're probably wondering, what about Ramadan? Yes, I do fast during Ramadan. It's not that difficult because you can eat within a certain window. Like you can eat when the sun goes down. And I usually eat, unless I try to eat breakfast, I usually don't eat till later in the day anyway. So
this actually, I know people didn't believe it for a second, but this I could believe of her because her schedule is usually topsy-turvy anyway. So it's not that hard for her to just sleep through the day. How much of a sacrifice that is, I really couldn't say, and it's not my business to, but she could sleep through the day and eat through the night, which is how she got through Ramadan before. And my poor students, during Ramadan, our school hours shorten. So they have shorter lessons, and then they just, they set up these sandwich bars at a like covered area of our canteen, so that if you're not fasting, you can go behind screens where people can't see you and you can have like something from there. But they are so tired during the day, because during the night, all their parents are up and their families get together and stuff like that, and they have iftar. So they get to school and they're like half asleep at their desk. But I could completely believe that Foodie would just sleep through the waking hours and it not be that big a deal.
So it's not that bad, actually. But not eating at all is the more difficult part.
Bear in mind, as she says this though, sorry, I thought I was finished, that the doctor basically said to her, have hours within that you eat. And she's not doing it, even though she could be. And that's basically what Ramadan would be for her. It would be like, hey, eat between these hours. But I think she uses Ramadan as an excuse to overeat because she didn't eat all day. And that's actually something you get warned about in the newspapers and things. There's always a lot of articles about, you know, fasting healthily and being careful when you start eating again and having dates first and all that stuff. And it'll all play into the problems she already has, you know? So I guess what I'm saying, on one hand, yes, you can plan around it, and I think she could, but on the other, maybe because it's not Ramadan, she seems to be struggling to do so under a different name.
I have to accept that and take it step by step, not all or nothing, disordered thinking, and just like literally just do what I was doing. It was working. I was losing. I wasn't losing very fast, but it was a healthy way. I was eating healthy food, and I was eating enough that, you know, those binge are just...
Sorry, when was this? When was she eating healthy food and eating enough? Because she's always had a mix of quite impactful food for her problems. She didn't give up the cheese. She didn't give up the carbs. She's changed some of the carbs. There's been some positive points, but they've been so interspersed with the stuff where she was like, oh, it's too hard today, that it won't really have made a difference.
We're being kept away, and I don't know what made me. It's never about real hunger. It's never about hunger. Biological hunger, it's never about that with the B word. It's psychological. It's a psychological disorder.
And yet we're not seeking psychological help. We sought out biological help, for all we're ignoring it, not psychological. Okay.
It's about missing the comfort it gives you, you know? It's about missing that feeling you get from it, the momentary gratification.
Okay, so what do you need to be comforted from? Is it Salah? Because I could see needing to talk to a therapist about that. Could it be a host of all the other reasons we've told you to go to therapy before? Maybe. You'll never know till you see a therapist and you stay with them, but you don't seem to be doing that.
It's about going out and just thinking like, oh, like it makes everything enjoyable. And so it's like, I've been getting accustomed to going out and going, you know, to the farm. I didn't order any fast food. I had a small ice cream, or a gelato, but I shared that. But
yeah, but how many calories did you burn? So even if you shared that gelato, and like I say, it's half a scoop of gelato, it's whatever, you know? But if you're talking calories in, calories out, and you're using the fact that you went to the farm, which was, 5 minutes of walking around and then a long car journey to justify the fact that you had an ice cream, you're not actually going to make any net progress like that. It's a good habit to build, but if you're also building in stops for snacks as part of that habit, you're not actually going to see progress. It's like when she used to drive to go do a 5-minute walk, but then use the drive as an excuse to stop in for fast food.
I didn't order fast food, you know, I brought my lunch. So it's like, normally when I go out, I feel like I would be missing something if I can't think of all the food I can get. I associate everywhere I go with food, and getting us accustomed to that, switching your brain, it's not as simple as just a switch. It's not a switch, it's a gradual process, and it's very difficult sometimes. if you're using food as anything other than to satiate your hunger and to sustain life. And I have to learn those things, you know.
And it's been years, and she's had this realization before. And we have not seen signs that anything will change this time, other than the fact that her health is getting rapidly worse, and that doesn't seem to be enough to scare her straight.
So yeah, that's about it. I will show you guys what I'm going to eat whenever it's ready. So I will just say bye now and just end my video with clips of what I eat. So I really truly appreciate your guys' support, especially in my live streams. If those of you who are new don't know, I do some live streams.
Those of you who are new, if any of you exist, my God, you don't know what you're getting yourself into. Good luck. Good luck, and don't give her any of your personal information.
Here and there. And I like just sitting and chit-chatting. I've always liked that. I've always liked...
Or other things. Or raging. Or insulting. Why not?
Doing that even with friends in real life. Just going to
what
a cafe
friends in real life?
Or just talking. I used to talk on the phone for hours.
Used to talk on the phone for hours in high school? Because that's where all your stories go.
When telephones were a thing.
Oh yeah, so high school.
Like home phones. So, alright. So, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you. And I'll see you. Bye.
Bye.
So this is the meal for Salah. Some rice.
I'm sorry. Nothing inherently wrong with the meal other than the fact that it's a lot of carbs, but she's got 2 containers of sauce and some olives there. Now, olives are part of the culture. It's not an issue, but that to me looks like it's for her. I could be completely wrong. I could be, and I admit I could be, but that to me looks like it's going to end up being an additional meal for her.
Chicken legs, dacus, which is homemade tomato garlic sauce for the rice, and olives. Alright, and here's my dinner. We have some chicken breast cut up with my dacus tomato sauce, some cheese, some olives, and sweet potato with nothing on it. That's how I like it, a little bit of sea salt. And I'm having water, and Salah's having a labin. Bismillah.
Okay, and that's what we have. Like I said, she had a lot of other content. She bought more groceries that seem like they're going to be terrible for her. There's no sign of the candy bars at the moment, so I'm assuming they're gone. And she's admitting to binging with very salty food, so I'm guessing those packs of snacks are probably well dented at this point. It is what it is. Will she get serious about her health? Probably not until her health gets serious with her, but it's trying. And I guess we'll see what comes up. We are still waiting for that weigh-in, as far as I know. Her rages have been deleted, as far as I know. They might still form part of the lives, but I'm not about to go through and see. And I will be with you next time she updates something interesting. Okay, everybody, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.